So here is IMPP Imperial Petroleum. This finishes at $4.25 today. That is down 43.33%.
And it's gone.
In the aftermarket, at the time of recording, this is up to $5.60. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is CEI Camber Energy. This finishes at $1.24 today. That is down 3.13%. So it looks like the small cap oil is starting to finally pull back. They've been going nuts the past few days, been absolutely squeezing. It had to come down at some point. I did say yesterday, I thought the squeeze was pretty much over, or about to be over, and it does look like that's the case. So CEI didn't pull back nearly as much as some other small cap oil stocks here, but it was pretty high up on StockTwits, so we will analyze it today. So no company specific news to justify this price action. It just seems like small cap oil just giving back some gains here in general. All right, let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this looks like a huge cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 44 cents, and it looks like there could be multiple possible tops. It could have topped out at $2, which it hit today. Another top could be $2.45, $3.65, $4.35, or the high of $4.85. Although I think the most realistic tops would be $2 or $2.45. So if the top is $2, that would be a bearish indicator. But if the top is above $2, that would still be a bullish indicator. And then we have a gap up at 80 cents. So that is a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should come back down to 80 cents at some point to fill this gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is sitting on the support of 125, which it finished around today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 131, 137, 143, 152, 158, 168, 177, 188, 199, 210, 218, 232, 245, 262, 280, 286, and then 310. There is resistance above 310, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 121, 112, 106, 101, 97 cents, 91 cents, 83 cents, 76 cents, 69 cents, nice, 63 cents, 59 cents, and then 52 cents. There is support below 52 cents, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, 124, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if this keeps running to the upside, the channels keep getting wider, so expect very significant price action if this continues to run to the upside. But pretty volatile stock all around. RSI is currently at 74, so that is overbought and overvalued, so be careful guys. And this did 709 million in volume today, very significant volume, so this sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So yesterday I did say that CEI possibly had a little bit more run, a little bit more upside potential to go, but I thought the squeeze was almost over, and it looks like it did top out at around 2 today. Longer term, it does look like a pretty good buy. Huge cup and handle here, a lot of upside potential. But in the short term, I do think this will pull back down to 80 cents where the gap up was. So we have the bullish indicator in the cup and handle, which could also be a bearish indicator. And then we have bearish indicators in the gap up and high RSI. So overall, the chart does look bearish at the moment. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that and I would not recommend that. I think you missed your chance. Like I said, squeeze looks pretty much over, and I do think this will pull back down to 80 cents to fill this gap. So I don't like the current price of 124. I think if you were to enter here, that would be FOMO, and you're probably going to get burned somewhat. So I would encourage holding off until this comes back down to 80 cents, and I think 80 cents would be a really excellent entry. And if it pulls back below 80 cents, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, looks like a pretty decent play. Again, the chart does look bearish in the short term. I do think this will pull back down to 80 cents. And from the current price, 124, that is about a 35% downside. So a good amount of money to be made here on the downside. And I don't believe there's that much risk because it seems like the squeeze is over. So I would say going short here would be a low to medium risk, high reward play. So I do think this is a pretty good short and an easy 35% to the downside. So I would support going short at 124 and higher. And I would say please cover once this hits 80 cents when the gap fills. Don't think it's going to go too much lower below that. But yeah, guys, pretty straightforward. Long term, looks like a pretty decent buy. But in the short term, I do believe it's going to pull back to 80 cents to fill the gap. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is CEI Camber Energy. Okay, here is HUSA, Houston American Energy. This finishes at $6.95 today. That is down 38.5%. Although in the aftermarket here, at the time of recording, this is up to $8.75. We discussed this stock yesterday. This had a 500% gain, was obviously squeezing, along with the other small cap oil stocks. And today here, this was still trending, high up on StockTwits, major price action. So we will analyze it once again. So I did say yesterday that I thought the squeeze was pretty much over. Maybe not yet, but didn't have too much more room to go. And it does appear like this did top out at 1660 today and then pulled back very significantly. Volume is going down, so it does appear like the squeeze is over. In the aftermarket here, this is going up, so maybe it'll run back a little bit to the upside, but it really shouldn't go above 1660 again. But yeah, no specific news to justify this price action today. Just seems like people taking profits and shorts coming in here. So let's go ahead and analyze here, and really there's not too much to go off of. So there is a gap up here at $2, so that's a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may pull back down to $2 to fill this gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now, this is sitting on the support of $6.95, which I finished at today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be $11.30, $13.95, $15.95, and then the high of $16.60. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be $6.35, $5.90, $4.60, $3.60, and then $3.30. There is support below $3.15, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, $6.95, the channels to the upside and the downside are extremely wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks $3.30 to the downside, the channel starts to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this breaks $3.30. RSI is currently at 67, so no longer overbought and overvalued. Still pretty high up there, above average RSI, so be careful, guys. And if this aftermarket action holds up, it's definitely going to be above 70 again. So yeah, this pretty much is still overbought and overvalued. And this did 61 million in volume today. Very significant volume. Not nearly as much as yesterday, but still second biggest day of the year. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So yeah, yesterday I did say that I thought the squeeze is over. Maybe it had a little bit more upside to go. And it does appear like 1660 was the top, and there's now a lot of downside potential. So although this is running in the aftermarket, I do believe that's just shorts covering. This really shouldn't go too much higher. Volume is pulling back, so it does appear like the squeeze is over. So there's not too much to go off of here other than the gap up and high RSI, but those are both very strong bearish indicators. So I do think this will pull back down to $2 eventually to fill the gap there. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. I think going long here would be FOMO. There may be still a few pops left in this, but it does appear like the squeeze is over. And I think if you were to go long here, you're probably going to get burned. I think you missed your chance already. This went from $2 to almost 17. Really can't expect too much more. So I don't think going long here is the greatest idea. I would say going long would be a high risk, medium reward play. You may be able to quick scalp this, but you definitely shouldn't go long here if you plan on holding for the longer term. I don't like the entry of $6.95. But if you do want to go long, I would hold off until $2 where the gap is, and you should be able to get this back at $2. So just be a little patient, guys, and you should be able to get a much better price. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I think that's a pretty good play. Still a good amount of risk involved at the moment because the stock still appears to be pretty volatile. But again, this should pull back down to $2 to fill the gap. So at the current price, $6.95, that would be over a 70% downside. A lot of downside potential, a lot of money to be made here on the downside. So that should be the minimum gain. If you were to go short here at $9, which is the current price in the aftermarket, that would be almost an 80% gain. So I would support going short at $6.95 and higher. A lot of downside potential, a lot of tendies to be made on the downside here. So yeah, pretty straightforward here, guys. Looks like the squeeze is over. Stock still looks pretty volatile, but looks like 1660 was the top. Really shouldn't go higher than that. And it should start to pull back pretty significantly in the short term here. I think it's going to $2. Don't think it's a good idea to go long here, and looks like a pretty excellent short play, in my opinion. So, sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, but it looks like it's going to get a lot worse. Not done bleeding just yet. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is HUSA, Houston American Energy. So here is IMPP Imperial Petroleum. This finishes at $4.25 today. That is down 43.33%.
And it's gone.
In the aftermarket, at the time of recording, this is up to $5.60. So here's another small cap oil stock that we talked about yesterday and is still trending on StockTwits today. So we will analyze it once again. Major pullback here, and the chart does look really similar to the other small cap oil stocks. Again, I did think that the squeeze was pretty much over or was about to end soon, and it does appear like today this did top out at 970. This is losing volume, losing momentum, and it's probably going to pull back from here. Just my opinion though. So no company specific news to justify this price action today. Again, just another small cap oil stock. A lot of price action due to Russia and social media sentiment. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, we do have a gap up at 55 cents. That's a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may pull back down to 55 cents to fill this gap. Then we have another gap up at 85 cents. Another bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock may pull back down to 85 cents to fill this gap. And then we have another gap up at 345. So another bearish indicator there that is telling us that the stock should pull back down to 345 to fill this gap. So at this point, the gaps at 55 and 85 cents look unlikely that those are going to get filled, but still very possible. So keep that in mind, guys. The gap at 345 should fill. And in the aftermarket here, again, this is up to 560, and that's a bullish indicator for tomorrow. Good chance this has a green day tomorrow. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is sitting on the support of 425, which it finished at today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 455, 470, 610, 720, 755, 830, 910, and then the high of 970, which I hit today. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 370, 345, 320, 275, 260, and then 245. There is support below 245, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at this current price, 425, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 245 to the downside, the channel starts to narrow, so expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this hits 245 to the downside. RSI is currently at 60, so a little bit above average there. Nothing to be too concerned about just yet though. So according to the RSI, the current price of 425 should be a little bit lower. And this did 101 million in volume today. Very significant volume. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Just my opinion, not financial advice. I think this one is pretty obvious. This is pumping in the aftermarket here, along with many other of the oil stocks. But based on the volume, it does appear like the squeeze is over, and this should be pulling back in the short term. So I think this will come back down to 345 to fill this gap, and possibly even 85 and 55 cents to fill the other gaps. Those aren't as likely to fill though. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I wouldn't recommend that. I think that would be FOMO, that would be chasing, and you're probably going to get burned. I do think this will pull back down to at least 345, probably even lower. So at the very minimum, I would go long at 345. Honestly, you'll probably be able to get a better price than that. So the best thing to do right now, if you want to take a position on the long side, is to hold off. Just observe the price action. See when this starts to bottom out. You want to try to catch this once this starts to catch some support, wherever that may be. Don't really know how low this is going to go, but it should be at least 345. So I don't like the current entry of 425. If you're a little patient, you should be able to get a much better entry. Now, if you want to go short now, financial advice, you missed a big opportunity today, but it's still a pretty decent play. Again, I think it's pulling back to 345 at least. So from the current price, 425, that's about a 20% downside. Decent money there. Not the best though, but that should be the minimum that it pulls back to. And if you enter here at the aftermarket action price, 560, that's about a 40% downside. So missed opportunity today, but still a good amount of downside potential here. And on the higher end, if this does pull back down to 55 cents from the current price of 425, that's about a 90% downside. So not saying that's going to happen, but this could potentially pull back around 90%. So I would say going short here would be a medium risk, medium to high reward play. Still risk involved because the stock still looks very volatile. Looks like there's going to be a lot of price action in the short term here, but this should pull back. So you should be able to make 20 to 90%. 20% on the lower end, 90% on the higher end going short here. Very wide range, but there's money to be made here on the downside. So I would support going short at 425 and higher. So pretty straightforward here, guys. Similar to the other stocks. I think the squeeze is over, although the stock is still very volatile. Ultimately, I do think it's going to pull back, though. So the chart does look very bearish to me. Don't think going long here is a good idea, and there is money to be made here on the downside. So, sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is IMPP Imperial Petroleum. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please, like the video. Please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.